everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie. I hope you're doing good, feeling well, and ready to find out about your past life and compare it to this life and see which is true for both of your personalities, because obviously your past life you were a different person. So I'm going to do 2 piles per pile. So this, I'm just showing you for example, this stack is past life and this stack will be your current life, and we're literally going to compare and contrast and see what happens. I'm going to focus more on your past life because obviously you know who you are and you know what you do, but I do want to give you some details so you know which one to claim as yours. So it is a pick a pile. Vibe out to the stickers. Once you pick your pile, go to the description box below. I do timestamp for you there. Alright, so pile 1 is a heart with space in it. Vibe out. Pause it if you need to. Pile number 2 is the star with space in it. Are you detecting a theme in here? Happy Sunday, everyone, by the way. Sunday is my relaxing day. I think it's the last one I have by myself. And pile number 3 is the moon with space in it. I will do this again one more time for you. A little bit faster though. So pause it if you need more time. So pile 1 is a heart with space in it. Trying not to get the glare on it for you. Pile 2 is stars with space in it. And pile 3 is moon with space in it. Wow, this one's hard to not glare. Alright, see you at your pile. Ta-ta for now. Hey there, pile 1. You picked the heart with space in it. Oh look, Baby Days is making an appearance. Hi, Baby Days. I love you. You tired? It's 3:52 in the morning. I'm sure she is. Mommy's crazy hours. Alright, so like I said, past life, current life. But I'm going to do something live for you. We're going to do channeled cards and my past life deck. You know I like to do some precognitive for you. This will be strictly your past life. I'm going to set your current life over here for now. Alright, let's see. What do I think is going to come out? I heard mother. High priestess. It's either high priestess or monk and nun, because I did hear priest and then high priestess. So it's either going to be monk or nun or high priestess, mother, and transportation with the train. We'll see what comes out for you. Oh, where'd you go? Okay. Oh, you were a mother. You had a baby. We'll see. That might be you. And keep in mind, genders change in past lives as well. Just because you're a male or female in this life doesn't mean you were a male, female in the other life. I've seen myself as both male and female, and yes, it's weird. High priest, priestess. Wow, it's very bland. I need some more details, Spirit. Oh, we got father. Transportation with the train on it. Yes. What's the other one? We need stuff. Oh. Okay, that makes more sense. I pulled the wrong one. Okay. Well, they're on the top. I'm not going to take it, but it was there. It'll come out if it's meant to. Still very bland, and I have all these cards on the table. Let's do 3 more. Also by ship, too. I know I said 3, but I'm feeling it. I need a little more deets. Why do you keep flying on the floor? Making me work for it. That makes sense. Celtic, it almost popped out once, and it's on the bottom of the deck. Might have some Celtic lineage. Alright, so of course, this is my Atlantis and Galactic. To me, you're a starseed, and you had spiritual gifts in your past life. You are still a starseed, which makes sense because I am a starseed myself. I call out to you, you call out to me. I would pick you up. We support each other in every lifetime. Our souls recognize each other. I feel like that's important for you in this message. Alright, so we have Native American, farm, and communal living. But then we have Greco-Roman time. I don't think trains were invented yet for your life. But transportation is important because I think you were kind of nomadic. To me, I feel like this is shaman, nomadic type vibes. I don't think you were necessarily Native American, if that makes sense, because I don't think you were in America. You could be, they have Native Americans in Spain and Mexico, so I guess it could have been during the Greco-Romanian times. It could be Spanish Native American. That makes sense a little bit here for me. Alright, so communal living, you definitely, I feel like, I'm not sure yet if you started in communal living and you went to farm, or you started in farm and later, it's like, to me, it's like you lived in the country and moved to the city, or vice versa. We'll get more. I just feel like you were a nomad. You lived in both country setting and city settings. I'm putting back anything I won't need further in the reading. We have knighthood here. I do feel like you were a male in this life again. It does not matter if you are a female in this life. You could have been I've seen myself with a weaning. It's weird, but it's true. You bounce around. You're both sexes because we're both divine feminine and divine masculine energies. So just whatever energy they feel like you need to be the most in is the gender you become for that lifetime. And also what you will need in your lifetime. It depends on what gender you become. So, because you're a male, I do feel like you were a father. The reason why I think mother came up, because someone was imprisoned here or made to be a slave, and I feel like they were executed, hung by a tree. I think your mother was executed when you were a baby. But mother here is very important in some sense. I think you went with your father, who trained you how to fight. Because you were definitely in war-torn countries. I think you fought most of your life. Your father was a knight. You became a knight. Yes, you and your father were very close. You fought side by side, but it's because back then, your fighting skills decided whether you lived or died. They fought by swords, arrows. It was very fucking brutal, for one. Your father was very good at it. And thus, so were you. He wanted to make sure you stayed alive. I don't think he made it your whole life. He made it long enough to teach you what you needed to know. But you had a very close bond with your father. And you always had, I don't want to say mommy issues in a bad connotation, but you always felt, you were always looking for love and nourishment because your father was very hard. Very, very hard man. Very I think he loved you very much. But it all focused on, I want you to live. So he was rough, tough, no compassion, no crying in baseball, Navy SEAL type of shit. But it's because he wanted you to survive, and I think you understood that. Plus, your father was a product of his environment. That's what his father did to him, and his father did to him. You had a legacy of fighting. You were warriors. So therefore, what happened a lot back then is when your father was killed, you would have picked up his armor. Because armor, it was very expensive. And it was mostly passed down. Of course, you would have had your own armor until he died. But once he died, you then carry his shield. You're his namesake. You would get his sword. That's the things that were passed down and inherited. Plus the money on any land they owned. I don't think your father, I think he was enslaved to be I don't know if he was enslaved to be a warrior or his country was dominated by another country and they didn't have a choice. But I do feel like you fought. You traveled by ship. Trains weren't invented, but I do think you were probably like in the early Navy and had some ship battles as well. But I do feel like you fought on land. You could be like early Marine because they go by sea and land as well. So maybe you were early Marine. I do feel like some kind of special ops. You were very good at what you do. They probably sent you in with a small amount of people. I don't think you were from the time, but I'm seeing the movie 300 where 300 people made a stand against a whole fucking army. I don't think you were in the Spartan or Trojan time, although you could have been, but I just feel like that's how badass you were. You would have been one of those elite 300. We have the arts here, so I do think you eventually left the service. Oh my god. Just got choked out. I feel like because you were enslaved and you were repressed and you were forced to fight, obviously you saw a lot of torment. I think you expressed your pain in a very artistic way. I think you were early, I just saw American Soldier, or American Sniper, I mean. So maybe, think about the American Sniper movie. He saw a lot of shit. He went through a lot of shit himself, and he came home and he helped his men. And I don't think you ultimately lost your life like he did because of that, but I think that's the kind of mission you were on. You were a warrior. You saw some shit. You went through some shit, and you understood that some of your guys weren't going to be able to bounce back without help. In a very artistic way, you could have written plays about what you saw. You could have written stories. You could have been a public speaker, anything like that. But I really feel like it had something to do with coming out of warrior mode and just living. Life back then was very hard. You have high priest, high priestess. You were a high priest, obviously, if you were a man. You did take vows. I think this was more, because you were a knight, it was more like vows to a king or queen. You could have even been a sibling of a king and queen, because your loyalty as a knight was to protect them, and you were very good. But you also had, I kind of feel like if you weren't a sibling of who was ruling, you were definitely in the round table. A very trusted knight to some kind of king council. Here. I do feel Spanish vibes, but I also am feeling French. Some French vibes in there. Could have been a part of the French court. You had a lot of trust and faith in the angels. I think you felt your mom was guiding you. Well, you could have been a medium, psychic. Again, throat chakra. I think a lot of people in your life tried to silence you and your gift. Alright, let's talk about your love life. You were in a male-female relationship. You have unrequited love, karmic relationship. Your love life was important and you were married. I heard forced marriage or rushed marriage. So I think you got married. I don't think you knew. I think your wedding was arranged. Like, obviously, I'm getting siblings again of royalty. So if you were like the king's brother or the king's sister, I really feel like you're a man though. You would have to marry for like things like treaties, like say you were the French king's brother and the French king needed an army from Spain, so you would probably be forced to marry a Spanish princess so that your countries could come together. It was like in the name of your country. I kind of feel like that you were forced to marry someone. It taught you a lot though. A lot of lessons came out of your love life, because remember what I said. You lost your mother. You were always looking for that nourishment, feminine touch. Like, think about how rough your life was without compassion. On the road, fighting for your life every fucking day. Now you have a soft, comfy woman in your bed, hoping that they will love you and give you that fulfillment, and I think they hurt you very much. I do think you had a lover die, or I don't know if they died or they were forced away, because you might have been in love with someone and then down comes the hammer where you have to marry someone and you don't have a choice. You're kind of enslaved to the crown. So you love someone, but you had to give them up or they died. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to leave love life up here. It's the only thing that's still sticking out. Alright. Let's get some detail cards. Jesus. You're definitely a spy. Secret society for sure. But I feel like I said, you worked for a king of some kind. I really feel like you were related, or you grew up like a sparring partner, or you were just in charge of protecting the king, but they sent you to get information and you're very good at it. Like I said, secret ops. You lived through the wars you fought in. Oh, you lived through all the wars you fought in, so you did not die in battle. Like I said, you were very good. You were an athlete, yeah, for sure. You were definitely an athlete. You felt real love and were happy in your life. Okay, so your love life's getting better. Maybe you did get that one back. Maybe your wife died and then you were able to. I feel like, LGBT. Close-knit family, exactly. You were definitely in the royal family. I don't know what country. I really feel like France. LGBT to me is, back then they had free love. You know, men and women would just be in one big room doing whatever. You know what I mean? So there was no such thing really as gay or anything like that. It was free love, open love. Men went to war for a long amount of time without seeing women. So yeah, there was a lot of gay activity. I don't know if you were a part of it or it's just around you. We'll get more. Yep, you were engaged. Oh, okay. Let me back this bus up. I was wrong about your love life. They're correcting me. So you were like forced marriage, but I think you were forced marriage from a very early age. I think you grew up with this person. I don't think you were in love with them on your wedding day, to be honest. that love grew. But I think you had a friendship that stemmed, and maybe that's why I felt like it was two different people. Like you grew up with this person, they were intertwined with your family. But I think you both grew up knowing that that was very common. You like met your spouse when you were like 8 years old back then. It was crazy. But you knew this person. I don't think you loved them when you married them. You had a lot of respect. You were very good friends. But you had a lot of issues. You had like PTSD. You were coming out of war mode and now coming into husband, family, sit on the council seat. Because you didn't fight your whole life. You fought probably, I would assume, till like late 20s, early 30s, maybe even beyond that. So then all of a sudden, you're from warrior, never seeing home, to being home all the time as a husband, a part of the court, because your family is the royal family, so you have to help support there. So I just think you didn't know how to adjust, you didn't know how to let people in, and this person was very patient with that. They knew you, they knew your story, that you were away, but I think you didn't know each other because even though you grew up together and you had that friendship, you went away to war for years, and they probably grew up while you were gone, so it's kind of like you were strangers again when you married, even though you grew up together, if that makes sense. So you did eventually become very good lovers, very deep lovers. Went into debt or was poor as an adult. What happened? I'm going to leave that one up here. As a member of the court, you shouldn't have been poor unless your country fell. Yeah, you were an adventurer. Maybe you didn't stay. Maybe you decided to give up your riches and go live your own life. That could have been true too. I'm definitely getting those vibes. You were very grieved by many people when you died. I don't think... I'm not going to say that they hated the person who was ruling the country, but your people trusted you. You were the one that went out and fought the wars. You were the ones that came out to their villages when it was ruined. Like, you were one. They saw your face more than the royal, whoever was in charge's face. So you were beloved by your people. You were very sweet, charismatic. You cared. You lived in a very big and lovely home in a richer side of your area, which to me is like a castle. You took great pride in your home and had many parties and gatherings with those you loved, worked with, and throughout your life. That's where the LGBT is. You yourself weren't, I think you were, I'm not going to say you didn't participate in sexual things, because you did, but you were more reserved, old-fashioned. But you definitely threw some whopping parties in that castle, like I said, in that room where everybody was just kind of drinking and naked, and, a whorehouse back then, they wouldn't, they did take them back to areas, but if they wanted to, they would just start screwing right there at the booth. That's just how they worked back then. You're, definitely good at fighting, for sure. You had dark hair and dark eyes. You had a learning disability or speech impediment, or lost a limb, had scars or walked with difficulty, or struggled in some physical way by a birth defect. I don't feel like it was a birth defect. I think this was a battle wound. I do feel like you had a stutter, so that may be what they meant. I don't think it was predominant. I just think it was when you were very nervous. Athletic again. You were murdered. Jealousy, because you were beloved by your people. You traveled very far to have a life with your spouse. You left everything behind, and it was hard, but you succeeded. Yes! Okay, so, this person that you did give it all up. I don't think you trust who was running the country. Your person that you married obviously married in so that your countries would come together. So you ultimately left, which I feel is France, and went to your spouse's country to rule there, where you would become more in charge. But I think it was a more poor country. That's why I went into debt or was poor as an adult. When you left France, You left all of your money, your namesake. Like I said, remember, your sibling, or it could have been uncle, anyone who was an active king or queen at that time, did not like the reaction that people gave you. They treated you like you were the king and not the actual king or queen. So I think they banished you on purpose, to be honest. You were in a leadership role. Yeah, you eventually became king with your wife, queen of whatever country. It could have been, I heard, Spain or Scotland. So maybe we have more than one group here. Feared tyrant. This is your sibling. The one that was in charge of France. They were very feared. I think that's, like I said, who killed you. Battle buddy. You did have someone very close that you fought with. A friendship here that are bringing up. Accused of a crime. Okay. I really feel like it was a brother or sister, a sibling that became king. Your battle buddy was a very feared, they spoke out against this king. Like, your brother should have the crown and you know it. It was definitely one of your battle buddies. Didn't like how you were treated. So, your sibling accused them of a crime. Maybe they were the ones that were hung by the tree. And obviously that would be something you would never forgive. It could be a big part of why you left. The accountant. So, you were very good with money. That might have been your job once you left the war. Before you left France, you could have been in charge of the purse or seeing that it was used accordingly. You had many friends. Yeah, you were the beloved one. Hippie. You were free love. Free love. Joyous. Accepted all people. Which was very rare for royalty at the time. Died middle-aged. So you were murdered in your middle-aged years. You did have children. Baby came up. Self-absorbed. And the angel in reverse. Ooh, something happened with your personality here. This could have been the sibling that was in charge, but I do feel like something happened in your later years and you became angry and bitter. Probably had something to do with, your spouse was abusive. There's the self-absorbed falling angel. I don't think they physically beat you. They were definitely smaller than you and you were good at fighting. I think they, while you were in debt, they spent a lot of your money. They were very vain. You had children with this person. You were like the hippie, fun-loving, and I don't know what happened to your wife. Maybe when they came home to their country, they got that power in their head. A lot of people liked you and looked up to you, but you stayed lovable. You were an activist, yes, especially for soldiers like you. Medical doctor or nurse, you were very interested in medicine. And with a high priestess, I feel like you experimented with like herbs. You were just all about collecting knowledge, while your wife was a bit much for you. That's the karmic lesson here. But you did have love. Maybe you had a secret lover, which many people did back then. Poor upbringing. Yeah. This person, you were a royal family member, okay? You should have never been poor. They just hated you from birth, and I don't understand. Yeah, ancient times for sure. Way old school France. I think you were poisoned. You had a good, full life and were successful. When you were murdered, you still had a good life. Okay, let's talk about what you did for a job, which we found a little bit about. You were, school. Like I said, you were always learning. I do think you, in your kingdom, probably put money towards scrolls being written, studies of science. You probably put money towards that. Yes, because you wanted to heal your people. You were all about holistic in nature, mind, body, and soul. To me, this just speaks that you worked with spices and herbs. You were a light worker, and you gave out love. That's why you were so adored. You were a strong ruler. You were a good ruler. You were a beloved ruler. Let's talk about now. What do you do in your life now? You're still a spiritual teacher. You're very abundant in this life, probably more so than your other life. You're still a medium or a psychic, and you're still very sensitive to your people's needs. You still care very much about your planet and your environment and the people around you. And look at you, you're still trying to heal people. So not much has changed in that department. You're still very much a giver, always learning about how to heal things. You're still a spiritual teacher. Let's talk about your personality then and now. Let's compare. Ooh, yeah, the social justice warrior. Exactly, you were an activist fighting for your people. You helped end oppression for a lot of people, starving. You were just like an early Gandhi. Like, you did have a dark side. You weren't perfect, but neither was Gandhi. But for the most part, you dedicated your life to the service of your people. Over here, now currently, you're the high priestess. Yes, very gifted. Still has that hippie vibe, though. You're still the life of the party. You're still cheeky. People still like you. Ooh, the fuckboy. You don't like to settle down because of, I think, how nasty this karmic was. I think in this life you're very scared of commitment, or you don't give your heart up easily. Your family betrayed you in this life. Your lover betrayed you. You have a hard time trusting people because of this past life. Let's talk about your personality, how other people saw you. In the past, Dragonfly, they saw you as someone who was transforming life for the better. And with this Butterfly, they seen you as someone who came through a lot, especially a lot of wars and battles, getting kicked out of your country. Let's talk about your personality now and how people see you. The Black Egg, you're still somebody who faces the dark and brings light to it. I feel like you're still very much an activist. Bat, you're a little bit more sneakier in your life because you were betrayed so much in your past life. Like I said, you make small moves. Let's see how people you worked with saw you in your past life and how they see you now. Spirit Fox, trust your talents in changing times. Your people back then trusted you, trusted your guidance. You were a very good ruler. They thought you were very fair and honest, so they always trust what you said. Ooh, look at you, Oracle. Yes, you definitely communicated with Spirit for guidance. They saw you as somebody who was very spiritual and had a good connection with the gods back then. They believed there more than one god. They thought you were definitely tuned in, and with the snake, very powerful. The Moon, take note of intuitive messages. Yes, they thought you were an open channel to Spirit, that you were protected. Shaman, they saw you as a healer, somebody who cared and wanted to bring peace. Let's talk about now. Eagle, see from the higher perspective. They see you as somebody who's very wise in your work environment, in your family. You, with this third eye, it's like you have a powerful energy. You can see through people's bullshit like no other. You've had a lot of practice with all these. Yes, old soul. You're an old soul. You just have so much infinite knowledge. People are very drawn to you. But then we have move beyond ancestral patterns. So they still see you as someone trying to get out of family ties. You're still a great teacher. Look at you. You're still a great leader. Good for you. Water Guardian, connect with your emotions. You're more connected with your emotions than you were, but you're still very guarded. Baby Daisy is snoring. Alright, let's see some details about your past life. details about your current life. Woo! Clarity, planning, releasing illusions. Yes, with this 5, you're all about change. I think you blew up your relative spot. Maybe you started a war with France because you believed it was ruled by a tyrant. And of course you grew up in France, so you want them to be okay. I don't think you ever agreed with how your sibling or uncle or whatever ruled, so you were vocal about it once you left. Shattering the illusion of they are powerful and they have their shit together and that they care. You have sacred action, decisive focus. You're very focused on revenge for a little bit. It did kind of take you, because you were very angry to be kicked out of your home, to be forced to be married, and you were stuck with this crappy, narcissistic person. But you did have love in your life, because we have twin flames. You did find and eventually come into union with a twin flame in that life, which means you probably have a twin flame in this one as well. Soul partner, eternal connection for sure. Bright heart light, open connections. Again, they just saw you as somebody very spiritual, priest-like, divine access to the gods. Circle of eternal joy, timelessness, dance of life. You were the life of the party. People felt so much joy around you. Sacred purpose, eternal flame, ancestral legacy. Yes, you had a big purpose because you were a king eventually. Started off as like a lower level royal and then ended up ruling a country with your narcissistic wife. Alright, so yeah. Abundance, yes, you're very well off, or you will be in this life. Way better circumstances than before. You're still setting those boundaries with your family members. You still have family issues in this life, for sure. You're on a healing journey. People definitely see you as somebody who's healing from a lot of trauma. They still see you as a portal, as somebody who's very attuned to spirituality, connection to God, or you're just a portal to change. You're the one that's going to bring change. They see that you have true love, or that you're very compassionate, very loving people. You might be great with animals as well. Let's get some more about your past and your current. Yes, you did eventually gain your freedom from that narcissistic bride. Maybe that's when your love came in. You did heal from your grief. You did become, I think you were a little bit of a tyrant, but I don't think you could be a full tyrant because you didn't have the heart to be cold. I think you were just cold to your family and this narcissistic person because you were angry. And like I said, you had a lot of PTSD and they didn't know what that was. But you did eventually heal and level out when that love came in. Yeah, your heart healed. You eventually got over all this pain. And you transformed your life, for sure. You were a great leader. You were beloved. Let's talk about now. You work in communication. You're still either could be in the public eye. You could be like a journalist, a writer, somebody who speaks the truth. Shadow treasures. You bring light to changes that need to happen in this world. I don't know if you're still royalty or not, but you still act like you are. Like it's your personal responsibility to take care of people. You still have that ingrained in who you are. You speak the truth. You have a lot of truth to bring to this world. Yeah, and you still have that strong intuition, but you're a bit more practical than you were in your past life. Or more practical minded. You could have been more of a dreamer back then. Or vice versa. Take what resonates. Again, referencing in your past life, you had a twin flame. Once you got rid of that nasty wife, you got a good one. You did create a sanctuary where you lived. You were, as much as you were a party animal, you were very private. You did eventually have your freedom to live your life the way you want, away from the tyrants. You had a lot of pain to face in your life, which you did. when you died, you were a healed, complete soul, but had a lot to do with your twin flame coming in and healing you. Yeah, you had a very gentle bride in the end. The bride, whoever you married, your true love, your twin flame, was the one that healed you by fulfilling that lifelong motherly feelings you needed and never got. Nourishment, compassion. People are still enchanted with you. You could be very good looking, very sweet. People want to be like you. You're an influencer. They do see a childlike innocence to you, or you're just very innocent about love. People are thankful to have you around, and they see you as someone who's thankful for the life they have. People do see you now that you reflect a lot. You're a deep thinker. You're very stuck in your head a lot, but it's because you have a lot of knowledge. You're an old soul. Ooh, and you're going to have a twin flame union in this life if you don't already. That's good. Alright, let's close it out with some last details about your past life and last details about your current life. Past life, yes, you had unexpected visitors that eventually killed you, and I think it stemmed back to France. Coming apart, this was you and your family, like when you married this person and the narcissistic one, and you were forced to go back to their country, and then when you got there and your wife was just terrible and abusive, that tore you apart. Flying to me, we have unicorn. You were very unique. There was no one like you. Not before you, not after you. You were so committed to that twin flame. You definitely loved your second marriage. You had, I don't know which one you had children with. I think you met them at 36. Or 36 was an important age for you. Yeah, you cleaned house. You got rid of that tyrant. You got rid of any bonds to France. But I do feel like, okay. Let me rephrase. At 36, you made a decision to end your commitment with the bad one and start a commitment with the good one. You got rid of that nasty tyrant at 37. 36 and 37 were big ages for you in your past life. You loved listening to music. You were very tied to music. You could have been a musician yourself. Let's see about your current life. Spirit of place. You have a powerful aura. When you walk in a room, people sense you. A lot of eyes are on you. Magic stream, yes. A lot of creativity. A lot of flow to spirit as well. You can channel. More water. You could be a water sign. Doesn't have to be. Follow the leader. People want to follow you. You're a trendsetter. Still. Field of dreams. You're a powerful manifester in this life. People see you as lucky. That you bring hope with you. And you have that spark. Yeah. You'd have that star quality. I don't know if you are like a public influence. But you definitely have. Oh my God. Wait. Let me back up. I think you really spiritually awakened at 34. 36, in comes your twin flame. 37 is when you got your twin flame. I think that's going to happen for you in this life. That's the one common bond. You spiritually awaken the most in your 30s. You're going to meet your twin flame at 37 or 36. Hopefully that resonates to you. Anything else? I think that's all we're going to get on it. I hope you liked it. I like these ones. I like learning about my past life and comparing it. So I hope you enjoy these. If it resonated, call to your soul if you want more like this in the future. If you like them too, hit the like button below. Feel free to share away to anyone who enjoys this stuff too. And if you want to join our family, we would love to have you here at Starshine Tarot. Everybody's really warm and supportive and loving. And shout out to all my subscribers. I love you! Alright, I'll see you all again soon, Pile 1. Have a good Sunday. Bye. Hi, Pile 2. You picked a cute star. You're a superstar. Alright, so here's your past life pile and your current life pile. I'm going to stick this over here for now because for right now we're going to focus on your past life. I do have to shuffle these. I shuffled the index cards, but not these. Let's think about some things that might come out. I like to get a little precognitive in these readings. Persecution, I'm hearing, so that card might come out. Transportation again for you. I got that for pile 1. Vows. So we got transportation, vows. What was the first one? I totally forgot. Wow. It's 4 in the morning. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. Vows. Transportation, persecution. That's what it was. Vows, persecution, transportation. Let's see if it comes out for you. Persecution. Transportation. Vows. Yes. They all came out. Good job, Spirit. Lessons. Gonna get 3 more and then we'll... Ooh. You picked the space one on purpose. Star seed. Well, they're all space ones, but the star seed for sure. You're still a star seed in this life. Hello, my fellow. Yeah, makes sense. One more, Spirit. I feel like it's a mom. Nope. Maybe something about motherhood is important. That was just for me. Finances came up in reverse, so you were definitely poor. But here's why. Let's go over here. First of all, you're a star seed, so you've had many souls, many evolutions on this planet, as most of us do. Welcome back. Hi. I missed you. We all knew each other. Don't want anyone to get offended, but I have to say what I'm seeing here. You were a part, with this Native American, I just feel like you were a part of some tribe. You could have been a Native American, but I feel like it's older than that. However, Native Americans have been here in the United States longer than is recorded, so I guess you could be a Native American, but I'm getting tribe vibes. Very rooted to your tribes. I think you lived in the woods, under the trees. You were very kept to yourself. Strong roots. I don't think anyone ever left. Like, you married someone else in your tribe. Like, everything was kept close. However, I do feel like you were invaded. Like, your people were taken. Some of them were murdered here. Because we have communal living. To me, that tribe you guys shared everything. You lived together, so that makes sense. Farmers to me is like you were a hunter-gatherer type of person. Alright, we got transportation by ship because trains weren't invented yet. This is when they took you to be a slave. They took you away from your home, your homeland. Some of your people were persecuted, but you were forgiven. You stayed or they thought they could use you as a slave pretty much. I'm sorry, unfortunately. Nobody deserves to be a slave. I'm just telling you what happened in your life. But I think you were taken in by a different country who gave you an education. You definitely became a warrior. You learned a lot. You were definitely orphaned after you were taken from your tribe. A lot of people died, including your personal family. You were orphaned for sure. I do think you were a male, and you did end up having a baby. This child is going to be important to your story, so I'm going to keep the baby on the board. Just know that you were, I think, a male. They'll clarify if you weren't. To me, is just see that, like you had an amazing close bond with your baby. So did pile 1, honestly. Those 2 cards came out for pile 1. If you were pulled to pile 1 as well, you might want to watch that because, like I said, you've been on this earth a long time, many times over. Just like pile number 1, the arts came out, love life came out, and they also had a karmic relationship. So I think pile 1 is also one of your past lives, to be honest. Vows, spirituality, and religion, trust and faith. To me, I'm not sure yet if you conformed to the people's beliefs that you were taken from, or if you just kept your people's belief alive in yourself. Because you were very gifted. Still a high priest, high priestess in this life. Like I said, you're a very good warrior. You had a lot of phobias because you were taken from your home, and you watched a lot, especially your family and a lot of people you grew up with and loved. You watched them be murdered. So that, of course, is going to fuck you up no matter what lifetime it is. Yes, you struggled with hunger. You were in a hungry, war-torn country, the people that took you. I think you survived a lot better than most because you grew up in that tribe and you knew how to hunt and you knew how to fish and you knew how to gather and you knew how to grow because you all did that together. Much like the Native Americans, you were a part of a small knit community and you all were responsible for finding the food and keeping each other alive. Later you were an artist of some kind. I'm seeing someone drawing. I think you had an artistic ability. You might still. I am also seeing somebody, I guess it would be like an early sitar. Playing one of those. I think it's a sitar. I'm going to leave baby on the board because we're going to find out about that. I'll leave arts on the board and see what kind of arts you were in later if they clarify that. But you also have a karmic relationship and a love life was important to you. So I'm going to leave those on the board. We'll get more about them. Let's get some more about your life. Past life. We'll get into your current life very soon. You could fight very well and had a very good talent. Yes. You were probably, I don't know why I'm seeing the Roman Colosseum. You could have fought for sport, but they did have knight. I think you were very good warrior. You were a bad parent. This is why this baby is important. You had a lot of regret. Why were you close to the baby if you were a bad parent? Hunter, good tracker, outdoor knowledge. Yes, that came from your tribe. I just think the bad parent is you weren't very, you had a very hard life, and you wanted your child to survive, much like Pile 1's father did to them. This is like reverse. This could be the father's version. I don't think so, because I think this is, Pile 1 is also one of your past lives, and it's like a reoccurring thing. And pile 1, their father was cold and hard to them. And this time, this is how you were to your child. But it's from fear. Listen, you were in this woods, living your private life, and then all of a sudden people came in and killed everything you knew, stole you, made you fight in wars like you had no faith in the world. You just thought everybody was the possible murderer and a possible threat to your baby. So you wanted your baby to be tough, and because of it, you were a very cold parent. You didn't give them compassion. You didn't give them hugs. You didn't want them to be a crier. If they got a boo-boo, you were the one that's like, suck it the fuck up. Life is hard. But I feel like in those times is probably something that kept your kid alive. I feel like you had good reason to. Emperor time period. Oh, shit. So, yeah, you're ancient. You had an emperor. You were in love when you married, but did not have a happy home. There's your karmic relationship. You might have the same repeating patterns, like you picked the wrong one first, I'm hearing. Fear of rejection was very strong in you. Still is in this life. That's something that's a trait that's still very predominant with you. You might have been married more than once, or you could be in a marriage that, was really good and is slipping. That's just going to be for some of you. But it's all part of your karmic lesson. Your love life only enriches when you learn what you don't love, which is the person you married. You didn't end up having a happy home. It was a karmic situation that you learned from, which would ultimately then make you pick someone better. But I do feel like they rejected you. They could have been a cheater or just very cold. Had a bounty on your head but was never caught. Ooh, look at you. You fled from your captors. Good for you. You were close with your family. Yeah, that tribe for sure. You served tours. Yeah, you were forced to. You were enslaved, and that's why you escaped. You're like, I'm not fighting for this fucking asshole emperor that killed my people. So you left, but this emperor had a bounty on your head because you were a gifted warrior. So when you left, they were pissed. Couldn't find you, though. You were good at it. Disappearing, I'm hearing. You sang or played music or wrote music. You were a very talented actor or actress or writer. A gifted painter. Yes, there's the arts. Like I said, I saw someone drawing. I saw someone playing an instrument. So there you go. They clarified, yes, you're a very artistic person. Ooh, Egypt wanted to pop. They're more pharaohs, though. You were a pessimist. Yeah, for good reason. Book nerd. So you knew how to read eventually. The goth. You were very dark. Again, I don't blame you. You went through a lot of shit and it hardened your heart. You did have a unique voice that popped. That's too many. I'm not going to take all of them. Probably still have a unique voice. King, queen, prince, or princess. So yeah, you were royalty of some kind later in your life. Or you could have been royalty in your tribe. You could have been like the chief's kid, something like that. You had a lot of natural gifts, and you had a spiritual career that changed people and the world. So yeah, you ran away from being a warrior, and I feel like you taught your tribe. Your tribe was like herbalists, early shamans. So whatever you learned from your people, you then became a spiritual teacher, like your people taught you. You were short. You were the center of attention. Wherever you were, you couldn't help it. People were just drawn to you. Yep, you did divorce. So you divorced that yucky. Back then it probably was more like one of them died. But divorce wasn't granted. You could have just left. Like there was no paperwork back then. You know what I mean? You did leave that karmic. You betrayed your family and your life. You left that baby behind. You had a baby with your karmic and you left it behind. Gossip. Either you were a part of it or had a lot of gossip about you in your life. I think you just had a lot of gossip because you were wanted by this emperor. You left your family. So people didn't like you very much. Well, you have medical doctor or nurse. I think you were a shaman. You betrayed your family in your life. Well, first of all, your karmic was an asshole. I'm feeling that. But I think you felt like the baby would be safer with that person than going with someone who was wanted and continuously hunted. I don't think you had a choice in betraying your family. You believed in many gods, which was common for that time. So yeah, this is very ancient. Revolutionists. You fought against the machine. You had piercing eyes. Left everything behind and ran for your life. Yeah, that's when you ran from that nasty emperor. Poor, working class, lived in poor neighborhoods, struggled, didn't have many nice things or luxuries because you were a slave. You married young. That was part of your karmic lesson. Baby crier, and you lived in ancient Egypt. So Egypt wanted to pop, so baby crier. You cried wolf about something in your life. Or people saw you as whining for something, but I don't think you were whining. I think you were just like, listen, back then people believed in slavery, and if a slave spoke out, they'd be like, shut up, slave, you don't deserve an opinion. So I don't think you were a baby crier. I think you were saying, don't fucking treat me like this, or you can't treat my people like this, and people were just like, shut up, but you just kept talking anyway. Good for you, pile 2. Yeah, the angel, you were innocent. All this bad shit happened to you, but I think as the angel is, you were a light worker. You followed that pull if someone was in need. You were definitely in a leadership role with this revolutionist. I just feel like wherever you left your family, whatever you left to do, it was to make a big change. Like you were a leader of a revolution and not one that was favored by rulers. That's why you were hunted. You were an athlete and spy, secret society. Yes, this is pile 1. Both came out. You were an athlete, spy, and secret society. You created a secret society to rage against the emperor. I heard China. Yeah, definitely had a rough childhood because you were taken from your tribe. Oh my God, LGBT came out for pile 1 as well. And engaged. Maybe you were gay and forced to be straight. Could have been that. But, like I said for pile 1, it was all free love back then. There was no such thing as gay and lesbian. Everybody just touched everybody if they felt like it. It was like, sex was like a spiritual communion with the gods. So they thought the more you had sex, the more closer to the gods you got. So, man, woman, they didn't care. They were just trying to get closer to God. Gods in your time. That you lived to be old, so you had a long life. Alright, let's see what you did in your past life compared to what you do now. Your life purpose fully supports you. You were supported by the angel. That's why you have angel. You had a big purpose, and it was about change. It was about speaking your truth. You taught people a lot about holistic healing. You traveled. You were always on the run. Yes, you were helping people like you who were enslaved, who lost their people. And you were close to your family, but this is the family that, were off in the woods, and you were that tribe. I think you had a little bit of a resentment. Maybe the person you married and fell in love with was a part of, like, the culture of the emperor who took you, and I think you eventually had resentments because they didn't understand that you were a slave. They probably held the same view as the emperor, which would make you upset, and they would be cold to you. So in this life, you could work with crystals as far as healing, or just be drawn to them. Ooh, you're a writer? Yeah, energy healing for sure. You help people heal their energy. You could do Reiki, anything like that. Or you're a yoga instructor. You're all about balancing and calming and healing people. So you've come a long way from this past life. You're somebody who follows your heart. You don't really question your feelings and why they're there. When you feel something, you go for it. Or at least you will in this life. Let's talk about your personality from the past here. We have the Lovers. So you were like a part of a famous couple to me. You're known as somebody who was half of a power couple. Oh my God, the yoga instructor. So maybe you practiced early yoga, exercising, breathing techniques that you carried into this life. In this life we have, the Empress, the Etsy Queen. Very nurturing, like this coldness that you had in this past life is no longer here. Now it's filled with loving, compassion, kindness that you couldn't face in your life because of what happened to you in the past. So that was a part of your soul lesson. Learning to forgive and learning to warm up. Insta famous. So you're still in the public eye, or you could be. Let's talk about your personality from the past and your personality now. Crocodile. They saw you as somebody very spiritual. Very, very spiritual and very powerful. Oyster, you were special. Unique. No one like you. You were a pearl of knowledge. Snorri baby. You see her? Mama's princess. I woke up. The wolf. They see you as protective of your family. I'm just seeing like a den with a bunch of cubs. You might be a father in this life and a good one and not a bad one. But also, you still have that lone wolf quality. You can still go out and strike out on your own. Vulture. It's like you're somebody who hovers over things that need to end or die. It's like you're making sure that patterns we don't need to take with us into the future are out. So you're still a little bit of an activist. What you doing, babies? Do you want to get down? Oh, we're going to go to the other side now? Okay. Here. I know you don't like this light on your face. Can you breathe? She likes to bark. Oh, forgot your baldy, Lisa. Here it is, see? She won't sleep without its eye. She's like my baby. Let's see what the people you worked with, how they saw you in your past life and how they see you now. Sky Father. Oh my God, they thought you were tapped into source. The Sun. You were very successful and you made people happy. Although you went through a lot, this revolution that you started, the people that you worked with and were on the run with, essentially, you made their life. You made them feel happy. But these are all people that were like you, that were enslaved and had no hope. You gave these people hope again. That's beautiful. Spring, your seeds grow. This is about change. You were planting seeds for acceptance, planting seeds to abolish slavery, which eventually happened. You were a part of leading up to that, which is beautiful. Guardian angel, you are not alone. Yes. Your people, your tribe looked after you. You were very spiritually protected, but also you took care of your people. They put their life on the line with you to make that change. So you protected them. You're also a badass warrior. For now, we have current times. We have She-Wolf, unleash the wild within. Yes, they still see you as somebody who will shout out the truth, howl at the moon, and let that wolf out if you cross them. Yeah, you're just still a strong person. You could be a soldier in this life. Somebody who stands up for people. Could be a police officer, fireman, helps people. Be fearless and stand strong. You're still an activist that they respect. You're still a good hunter. I don't know if you hunt still. But this is somebody who goes after what they want. Whether it's change, whether it's a job. You go out and you get it. Remember when we said emperor? Be graceful in movement and action. You still keep that yoga. You might still do martial arts. I heard samurai. Maybe you trained to be a samurai, or that just interests you a lot in this life. Alright. Let's look at some details about your past and compare it to now. Yeah, you had a lot of responsibility, or you felt like you had a lot of responsibility in your past life because most of your tribe got killed. It would be like the equivalent, as sad as it is, it would be like the equivalent of arriving at Auschwitz and you got picked to live and then your whole family went to the gas chamber. I feel like that's what happened to you. It was very not in World War II, but you know what I mean. Like, they just took you, you were chosen to live, and then, like, you were forced to say goodbye to your family. You didn't know at that time that they were going to be killed. So you just felt like because you were the one that lived, I really feel like you were probably like the chief's child or the chief yourself, but I think you were fairly young when this happened, so I think you were a child of your chief or the king of your tribe. So you felt a great responsibility to keep your people's beliefs and lifestyle alive. You did have a divine love. You did eventually have love in your life. You were always protected by your people. They looked out for you even in death. You had a gift of sight. You were very precognitive, visionary, which you probably still are in this life. Let's see about this life. You're a lot more prosperous than you are in the past life, as in you probably do better in money and lifestyle, and you're not on the run anymore. So you're more what's that word? Prosperous. There we go. Ooh, yeah. Clear aura. You're somebody who works with aura clearing for sure. Crystals came up. Self-acceptance. You're a lot more accepting of your hardships. You're more patient with yourself. You're more accepting of other people. It's like you've forgiven the people who have... Like, that's a part of your past life that you never could get over. You could never get over your captors, the people, the emperor that took your family. Like, you died still angry about that. So in this life, you have released that. You've let go of that cycle. You're more... open. That's why you're more prosperous, because you're more open to your abundance than you were in your past life. You have an awareness still about people who struggle. You still feel like shedding light on the world's illusions. Alright. Let's get some more details about the past. Compare it to now. Yeah, you had a lot of healing, but mostly you were a spiritual healer of your time. Again, protection. You protected your people that fought with you, and you were protected by your people that were killed. You trusted your instincts more than anything. You were very connected. If you fell off, you listened to it. Although you went through a lot, you still had hope that change could come, and that's what you were fighting for. You wouldn't fight if you didn't have hope. You listened to spirit. You listened to the people, not the people in charge, but the people that were also held down. In this life, you're a lot more, we have purity here, you're a lot more sweeter. You're not a bitter soul. You've really come through that cycle. You try to do the right thing. Your perception in the world is a lot different. I think you're more beloved, or this could still be in the public eye as well. You still have a lot of faith. You're still very connected to whatever spirituality you believe. You're a lot more harmonious in this lifetime than you were, obviously. You're not a slave and you're not on the run. You're better looking in this life. I don't know why they said that, but I just feel like it's because you're more open and accepting. Like, you had a lot of grudges in your past life. You probably had a scowl face most of the time. Or resting bitch face, as I call it. I have that sometimes. Let's talk about... It just means you're deep in thought, honestly. Let's close it out with some last details. Ooh. Come together. Balancing it. Again, with this 8 and 11, this is talking about twin flames. Pile 1 also referenced that they eventually came into partner with a twin flame. I think you did, after you left your family, and you left your family to be an activist. So I think you came together with another slave like you, which would be more fulfilling to you because you understand each other. But this is bringing people who are enslaved and trapped like you were together to fight, to balance out the life so that they didn't have to serve somebody. You wanted to give that peace. Yeah, you moved around a lot, always moving. You kept that nomad, but it's because you were hunted by that emperor. You gave people encouragement to stand up and fight for themselves, to turn away from the emperor. You did have peaks of joy. It wasn't hard all the time. You were happy, you weren't grumpy all the time, but it was few and far between because that time period was hard for everybody, not just you. Yeah, to me, ancient Egypt has a lot of sand. This is trying to make change. See this cactus popping up out of the sand? You're trying to make change in how the Egyptian people treated their workers. Let's talk about now. Ghostlands. You could work with, like, paranormal investigator. You could be fascinated by communicating with the dead. But I think that stems from losing your family, and this past life you're always communicating. And I think you're still very attracted to communicating with spirits. But this also represents that you go to places where they have little to no hope still, and you're still trying to create that change. Yes, you're all about transformation. And within yourself in this life, you've come through a lot as well. But this is about changing the world, the perspective, treating people better, getting equality. You're still very much drawn to that and pushed to work in that field. Yes, you still have a gift. You can still communicate with spirit. You're still a powerful manifester in this life, even more so than the last. Coming to life and making a choice. Okay, with the ghost lands, it's like you go to places where people could be dying. You could be a doctor where they need help. You could help in maternity as well. I'm hearing like a midwife. That's only for some of you. Or OBGYN. That will be for a small few though. But coming to life is bringing hope where there is none to me. Like going places where they really need help. Helping them to live, have a better quality of life. Yeah, and you help people make a choice. Ending the past and embracing a change. I think you also in this life will have to make a choice between a karmic love and right love. That's sticking out as well. I hope you liked it. I love these readings. I love comparing past life to the current life and seeing what still sticks. But I really think you should check out pile 1 because you had a lot of similarities. So that was probably another soul elevation you had here. So check that out. If you like this, if you want more and like this in the future, if you're into these like I am, hit the like button below. Feel free to share for anyone who's into past life stuff too, or might want to hear this, or if it reminds you of someone. And if you want to join our family here at Starshine, we would love to have you. Starshine Tarot. I never finished that. Why? I don't know. We would love to have you because you're awesome. Thanks for coming and watching this. You don't have to subscribe. I just appreciate that you watch. Shout out to all my subscribers. I love you. And thank you for your support. I couldn't go on this journey without you. Thanks for allowing me to be my kooky weirdo self. I appreciate you. I'll see you all next time, Pile 2. Bye. Hi, Pile 3. You picked the moon. Alright. This is your past life pile. This is your current life pile. But I'm going to set this over here for now because we're going to get into your past life. Oh, I did it again. I didn't shuffle these. I just shuffled the index cards and not. That's 2 times. It's alright. Maybe you need to see it live. Let's get some precognitive cards. What do I feel is going to come out? Hearing Father. That's been a prominent one tonight. Like monk or nun. Spirituality and religion. So Father, monk or nun, spirituality and religion. Let's see if they come out. Shut the front door. Spirit is so good. Shut up. It's getting freaking myself out. Spirit. Oh my god. We're getting good at this. We got a spouse, so maybe you were a father. That's crazy. It's never come out like that soon. Bam! There you go. We got all three. Get three more. Let's see if I can get one more card out of these last two. The arts. We'll see. Let's also come out the last two. Nope. Alright, one more. So I need... Tell me more about this over here. Spirit, wars and battles. I need one more for that. Yay! Spirit. That makes way more sense over here. Okay. Perfect. Alright, we have Celtic. To me, this is like Ireland or Scotland. Greco-Roman, to me, I don't think you were involved over there. Could be. It's been... I kind of feel like I'm not going to lie, I feel like all of these readings are attached to one group. As in, this could have been all of your lives. Rather similar tonight. Slight differences, but... Celtic, like I said, you could be even England, Welsh, Wales, I'm hearing. Scotland, anywhere in that European area, to me, is where I'm feeling. You could eventually went to Rome. We have transportation, and definitely by ship, because this is old. Old times. You were, in your life at some point, you were a doctor, a healer, shaman. You definitely took vows as a monk or a nun. You had a strong spirituality and religion and wisdom of the gods, I'm hearing. So in your time, in this life, there was more than one god. And you were, you could educate about all of them. You could have been like a priest or a nun. We do have persecution. You did go to court because of your beliefs and your teachings, but they did pardon you. So you weren't killed. I feel like you were captured. Your religious beliefs or your practices probably bumped heads with some kind of ruler or some kind of belief, and you had to prove that you weren't trying to undermine them. And in the end, they felt you weren't that much of a threat and let you live. So you were married in a male-female relationship, which is very common back then because it was all about producing children, which you did have. There's a significant bond between this father and baby. Most of the other two piles have been male, and I'm feeling that for you, but I'm reserving that. I'm going to leave father on the board because I feel like that's important here. I'm going to leave love life on the board because you had a karmic relationship and you were married. So we'll find out more about your love life. It didn't clarify anything about the arts and what aspect you did that, so I'm going to leave that on the board. You did fight in battle, or your country was war-torn, and you learned a lot of lessons through that as well. Alright, let's get some more details. Shuffle these. Egypt popped. Didn't come out though. Alright. Talk to me about this past life, Spirit. You were a romantic. That's why your love life is important. You were a romantic soul. You were a loner. You didn't trust people. I think it had more to do with your work. You needed to spend a lot of time clearing your energy. You were wise beyond your years. Yeah, a lot of people didn't understand you. You were a unicorn in your time. Way ahead of your time, too, I'm hearing. As far as, like, medical-wise, spirituality, you could see the future. You were definitely precognitive. Artist, musician, or dancer. So there we go. You were a musician or dancer. You could have been an early sound healer as well. Lots of enemies and haters. Yeah, you were almost persecuted. You were a patriot for your country. A countryman. You were rough and tough. You took no bullshit. You were powerful. Very fierce warrior. Ooh, okay, so you were female. Perfect, they clarified. You changed the world and history with your life's work. I think you were just very masculine for a feminine, and you know, men still have a hard time accepting that, and they definitely didn't accept it back then. That's why you were ahead of your time. You were a free-thinking woman, and you didn't take no man's shit. Good for you, Pile 3. You had a stain on your name, but you were able to bring honor back to it and set a positive example in your time. People respected and looked up to you. You were very well known. Ooh, I heard royalty. Oh my god, Egypt, it came out. Yep. Pharaoh's daughter is what I heard. Your father was a tyrant. Bad leader. You were a parent and you were a natural. You loved your children and always remained close with them. That's what the father was. Your father was the tyrant, and you were trying to make your name good again by ruling better. You were well known and adored by people of your time. So you definitely came into power. I don't know what happened to your father yet, but people were not happy when you stepped into power because your father was such a tyrant. They feared you were going to be a tyrant as well. I think they murdered your dad, to be honest. You lived during Vietnam. Okay, side note, because this one is very old, so you got another one coming through. You also fought in Vietnam. I think you died in Vietnam in one of your lives. Ooh. You got 2 lives creeping up here. They've already established that in this life you had children and you were a good parent. Now we have you lived during Vietnam and you never had children of your own. Let's see why these 2 lives are. They have a reasons for everything. Has pets. This is related to your Vietnam. I heard you're looking into... I don't know if you study Vietnam or you feel a strong pull to the Vietnam War. It's because you died in it. Or this could be current if you're older and you were alive during the Vietnam. Take that as it resonates. They're trying to give you details about your current life. Well educated. Okay, so now we're going back to the other ones. That was a side blurb for somebody out there. This is collective. Warrior. Okay, that's where they're getting it. Although you were a female in this life, you were a badass warrior. You're also a badass warrior in the Vietnam War. In separation here. Ooh. So long distances between lovers and your family, like you went off to fight war. A cult member for the good. Like they said, they called you an occult member because you went against whatever beliefs they had at the time. But they did see you as someone who was out here to do good and not bad. That's why you weren't murdered. You were spared. Expensive, good style. Yeah, you were a pharaoh's daughter, so of course. Too many. We have good humanitarian pop, so I'll take it. I think that's true still in your life, and it was true during Vietnam too. Taller than most, so you're very tall. You were widowed. Your husband died. Money hungry. You were praised long after your death. I don't think you were like the greedy sense of money hungry. Like, you had expensive taste. You wanted to be able to pay for it with your own money. In the it crowd, yeah, for sure, you were a pharaoh. Celebrity of your time. The CFO, yeah, Chief Financial Officer, which would make sense for someone who is a pharaoh. Besides where the money goes, what the money's going for, or how you're raising it, you had final say. You made your country wealthy again. We have short. Let me back up. When you lived in Vietnam, unless you are still this person, you're very, very uniquely tall. But when you were a pharaoh, you were very short, which is common for the time. Most people were very short back then. I don't know why two lives are... This is the first time of the night that two lives are coming in one. But there's a meaning in everything. Died middle-aged. Had a learning disability or speech impediment. Or lost a limb. Okay, maybe you lost a limb in Vietnam. If you're still alive, this would be true for you. Over here in Pharaoh times, I think you had a club foot. Almost like King Tut. Adventurer. Yeah. This is more towards Vietnam. You liked traveling. Whereas in this life, you were stuck in one spot. Blind to the trouble or truth. You're a little bit naive as a pharaoh. Like, I don't think you saw your enemies coming. Worked in the science field. Over here in Vietnam, you did something with science. You wrote a book or invented something. You wrote a book about Vietnam. I don't know if you're still alive from Vietnam. Please clarify in the comments. Or if you weren't, there's a book out there in this world that your past soul wrote about the Vietnam War and their experience. I just think you're very pulled to war history because that was your life. You wrote that book. You were so invested. LGBT for all three piles. Definitely for, that was just common for the times, like I said. It was free love. There was no such thing as gay or lesbian. They believed sex brought you closer to God, the gods. So it was an act of connecting to spirit. So they didn't care if it was a man, a woman, it was a spiritual act for them. Fear of rejection. Yeah. You didn't want your people to rise up like they rise up against the pharaoh before you. Let's talk about what you did for work in your past life compared to what you do for work now. Alright. You were very good at expressing yourself in a creative way, writing music or dancing. You were a good entertainer. Again, referencing leadership, you were definitely a pharaoh. In the Vietnam War, you would have been someone in charge of like a platoon or a boat or some kind of position of leadership. You had a lot of options as far as what you could do. because you were in a leadership role, you could focus your attention on whatever you wanted. You were a justice creator of justice. Let me say that correctly. Like, as the Pharaoh before you, who kind of just killed anybody who didn't agree with them or was a threat, you were like, no, everybody deserves a fair trial. You weren't a tyrant. Yeah, you let go of the past and reclaim that honor in your name. Let's talk about now. You could work with children, or you could have many children, or be very close. You could be a public speaker, as you were as a pharaoh. You had to speak to your people, or you could be a public speaker for kids. Definitely a writer still. Maybe that's why they're bringing up the War on Vietnam book you did. You wrote books in your past life. So if you're a writer now, or you're feeling pulled to write a book, that's because you were an author in the Vietnam era. You're on the right path. So you're following your same spiritual journey as far as telling the truth, telling a book, writing a book about something. Because I feel like this Vietnam book you wrote was about the truth. About, like, if you were on the American side, you were telling the truth about some of the dark and bad things that people did while they were over there, but also about the government and the lies and all the things they were covering up. It was like a tell-all book. You're going to have a career change in this life like you did in Vietnam. That's why this came up. Like Vietnam, you're a warrior, you're in the military, you're fighting. Doesn't make sense though. Maybe I was wrong. I don't think you died in Vietnam. You might have died for that book though. Google it. Was somebody murdered for a book about the Vietnam War? Alright, let's talk about your personality then versus your personality now. Alright, the barista, you were a creator. Somebody who was building worlds, building empires, which makes sense. But you were also trusted spirit. You just took it on faith that everything was going to be okay. The side hustler, yes, you were about making that money, about making your country prosperous again. You were a good leader as far as making your country have wealth and building up industry. You're very good at that. In this life, you're still an adventurer. You're still searching for things, searching for truth. You charge in there like a warrior, but off the grid, you like to stick by yourself. You're still that loner. In this life, you're very much a loner. I feel like you're very creative. You like to be alone to write. You don't really trust people all that well. It's hard for you to let people in, is what I'm hearing. Let's look at how the people who you worked with in your past life viewed you as... Oh wait, I forgot the animal ones. Alright, so again, for your personality, you were very noble. This to me is like you were a pharaoh for sure. Raccoon. You're very playful. I think you were a night owl, but you made moves in secret. Like, you weren't necessarily a person who felt the need to brag, like, I made billions for this country. You know what I mean? All of a sudden you just come out and give a speech to your people and be like, we're not going to starve anymore because I made enough money to buy us all food for the winter. And people are like, what? How did they do that? You made moves in secret. In this life, the sea serpent. Ooh. Breaking cycles. Still very connected to the sea. You could be a water sign here. Or an earth, because you have Earth Mother. There's a very big spiritual purpose in this life as well. You're a star. You're like everybody in this life wants, like, although you're a loner, you're somebody that everybody wants to be friends with, really respects a lot. You're very protective of your energy. That's why you like to be alone. Let's look at your past, how people saw you. Winter, take care of your needs. That's funny, like I said about winter. They only had harvest at certain times when the Nile flooded in Egypt. So I think your biggest purpose in your life was always to make sure you had enough to feed your people through those seasons of the Nile not flooding and things not being able to grow. For a long time, Egypt was riddled with starvation and plagues. So you were somebody who protected your people by making sure they had what they needed through those months where there was no growth. Autumn, release the old and rest. Yeah, release the old, thinking of the Pharaoh before you. You transformed like a country that was dead, dying from starvation. Maybe the Pharaoh before you used up all the money, and that's why you felt the need to always be replenishing. You really made it a mission to change how people viewed your family and your leadership. Yep, Lord, you're definitely a Pharaoh. Medicine mother, always into medicine, healing. You worked with trades, getting different herbs in and trading with other countries to help with ailments, with help learning how to grow things through droughts. It's like you're always continuously trying to better your people's lives. Let's talk about now in your life. Ooh, High Priestess. They see you as someone very spiritual. You could be like a tarot card reader like me. Somebody very connected and tuned into spirit for sure. You're somebody who stands their ground. You don't take nobody's shit. You're not afraid of nothing. That's how the people you work with view you. Earth Mother, you're very nurturing. You're a good parent, good spouse, very compassionate. You give comfort to those who need it. Yeah, White Witch. They think you're a witch or powerful. They see you as somebody who has spiritual gifts for sure, but not in the evil sense. Let's spread some more details about your past life compared to now. Oh my God, for now you got Divine Mother again. You probably a female in this life. Good mother. They just see you as a mother. The Empress. Good wife, good mother. Alright, let's go back over here to your past life. Harvest, yes. You were very focused on feeding your people. You lived in a time of great famine. And this was because the Nile wasn't flooding when it was supposed to. And all these things happened, whereas this is why people didn't like the person before you, because they hoarded all the food. They didn't work in trade, so they weren't adding to the country. Okay, baby Dave? It's like they were just taking for themselves and just taking care of their own people and letting people starve to death. So you came from a place of, I want to make sure every family has food. So harvest, you got the farming industry. That's why farming came out, I think. Or is that Pouncey? They're all blending. Let's see. Should be on the top here. Nope. Didn't come out for you. But you were a farmer. I feel like, well, you boosted the farm industry for your people. Healing earth. Yes, you were working with science to get the soil. You were like, why isn't this growing? I know they didn't have a lot of knowledge about why climate change and all that happened in cycles, but you were really giving, like you were trying to heal the soil so that you could continue to produce. You're probably coming up with creative ways to grow things without the Nile flooding. Because when the Nile flooded, it replenished the earth around it so that it could grow. Egypt is very dry, hot, desert. So you needed that flood to enrich the land. And without that flooding happened, nothing really grew well. So you're always trying to work on enriching the soil. You're probably still connected to farming. Summoning power. Intellect, instinct, and control. You're a good leader. You're trying to get people to respect leadership again and not, like you were probably in the time of people rising up because they're hungry and starving and they didn't want a pharaoh anymore. And you were standing in your power like, you need a leader. I'm a good leader. I'm not like the person before. Grateful optimism. You're always grateful for your people. that they gave you a chance, and you were always hopeful that the future could be better. You were an optimist. Death and rebirth, yes, darkness to light. You ended the bad pharaoh and you became a good pharaoh. Like I said, you restored your name for your family. Adjustments. Always looking back at the mistakes of the past to make sure you didn't repeat cycles. You were very aware of that. Let's talk about today. Innovation. You're a creator, inventor, or you have the possibility to. Ooh, we have loss and lack, fear, victimization. So in this life, I think you're feeling a lot about what your people felt under that tyrant. Like maybe you're understanding your people in a way you couldn't before, although I think you were very humble in the past. You're now held down from something, or you feel like you're held down from something. Touching earth, planting something new. Again, still working in the agriculture, science industry. Power over difficulty, reclaiming your power. So just like your past life, you're overcoming something very hard, like a tyrant ruler, and trying to get your people to love you again. It might not be that serious of something, but I feel like you are trying to stand up to your community and make them see you differently in this life, like you did in your past life. You still have a psychic connection in this life. You still have spiritual gifts. Alright, let's see some more details about the past and the current. Go with the flow. So you're very good at not breaking through the challenges, but bending, understanding that times were difficult and not giving up. You were the leader. You had to be strong for your people, and you're very good at that. Yeah, you're a very strong, good ruler. Very powerful inside. You are inspiration to your people. And you are inspiration to the people after you that became pharaohs to be kind and not the tyrant. Yeah, you were a light worker in your time. You still are. Let's talk about now. You have an understanding of people like you did in the past. You have great compassion for those held down. You have an understanding that you have to take care of the earth, and nourishment is important. This is still something that's very deep within you. You still have that clarity from spirit, as in you can tap in and get answers. You have a grace of this same grace from the past life, really trying to strive to be an honest and pure leader and tell the truth and give your people what you need. You still have that same elegance, as in you're somebody who is a giver, compassionate, thinks of others more than yourself, feels like they have a great sense of responsibility to take care of others. Yeah, the big picture, just like in your past life, the big picture was, we need to find a way to grow food so my people don't starve anymore. We need to find medicine for these plagues so that my people stop dying. That's still the same mentality you have. We need to clean up the earth because we need to grow our food. We need to stop polluting because animals are dying. You still have that big picture of, we need to change things for the better. Let's close it out with, oh wait, nope. We got one more after this. I'm ahead of myself. Alright, so in the past, you released a lot of bad negative connotation to your family's name. They definitely see you as somebody who restored, like, your family was not beloved. You had a lot of tyrants, and then came you, and they were like, oh God, here comes another one. They were raised by the same people, and then they were completely surprised that you were not a tyrant. You spoke the truth, and you saw the truth on really what your people needed and what was important. Again, referencing you were a powerhouse, strong leader, and for a female, that's impressive. People saw you as a guardian angel. We're going to be okay because she's helping to feed us, and she's giving us medicine, and she cares about us, and she's teaching her future kids to be kind and not tyrants. They're like, thank God for you, pile 3. They saw you as someone who was very thoughtful and always thinking and considering the people and what was best for the country. Always putting country above yourself. In this life, you still have that intention of working hard to change your image, change your name, and change the world. You're a little bit more balanced in this life as far as you're not so after money as much as you were. You're a little bit better at seeing through the bullshit as well. You're going to have a strong love presence in this life as well. I heard twin flame. And centering, you're here to center the earth. I'm getting a lot of earth energy for you, pile 3. I don't know if you're like a geologist or you're just an environmentalist, work with endangered species or something, all about cleansing it and helping earth, which was a very big mission in your past life as well. Alright, let's get the last details of your past life. Details. You were somebody who was very organized, liked to make a plan, because you were in leadership and you wanted to make sure everything was done. You wanted to know how many people you had to feed, how much inventory you had. Like, you were somebody who paid attention to every little thing. You were probably a little bit of a micromanager, but as a pharaoh, you would have had to. Yes, you are always learning and you are always teaching. Bone collector. To me, this is like you came into as a pharaoh. There was nothing. Like, they used up all the money. There was no food. Your people were starving. It's like you inherited a dried out earth, not producing anything. You became a pharaoh in the great famine when there was no hope, and you brought that earth back to life, and you brought that hope back to life. That's beautiful. Magic prayer, you were a manifester. Whatever your people needed, you would find a way to manifest it. Goblins, you did have a lot of haters and a lot of enemies, because not everybody is comfortable with change. You didn't give a shit, though. Because, yes, again, with the strength card, very strong. You didn't take no one's shit. Like, you want to come for my head? Good fucking luck. That was your energy. Alright, let's talk about now. Wizard of Awareness. Yes, you're still very conscious of the needs of the people of the world, like you were of your people. You might work with meteorology and trying to detect tornadoes. That will be a small few, because I'm seeing the movie Twister. And they're like holding on to the pipe at the end. Like the F5. I don't know why I'm seeing that. But to me, this is like that past life. You were stepping into power of some kind in a very turbulent time, because you're very good at restoring order. It's one of your gifts. You're still very much a loner in this life. You're a very private person, but you still have that hope that anything is possible. Deep down inside, you're what I call a serial optimist. The world can literally throw shit at your face and you just brush it off like, well, shit happens. Like, you just have that bounce back quality, even if you don't realize it yourself. Sad embrace. Yes, you still feel the need to comfort those that are held down and hurting and starving, but also you carry a lot of pain and a lot of responsibility still in this life. Still a manifester, still helping people get what they need. That's beautiful. I hope you liked it. If it resonated, if you want more like this in the future, please hit the like button below. Feel free to share away to anyone who might like past life stuff, or if it reminds you of anyone. And hopefully, if you're up to it, come on and join our family at Starshine Tarot by hitting the subscribe button and putting your energy into the collective. Don't have to, no forcing here. I just appreciate that you watch, and thank you for your time. I'll see you all next time. Have a wonderful Sunday. Relax. Enjoy the day. Hopefully it's good weather for you. See you all next time. Love and light. Bye.